Hey, what's going on everybody? It's Jacob here from Jacob's Garage, and we're going to do a new video. Stay tuned. Today's video, we're going to be installing the Direction Plus pre-line and pre-filter kit, which means we've got a catch can there to stop oil from getting into our intake and turbos and everywhere you don't want it to be. And we've got a pre-filter for your fuel and a water separator kit, plus all the brackets and stuff. Now, I've set it out here like this, not only to demonstrate what comes in the kits for you guys at home, but also because I like to set everything up so I know what I'm doing. So, as we see here, I've set everything up for our catch can. So we've got all our lines, our drain, our little tools, bolts, and the brackets up there, plus our lovely stickers. So I know that's one section that I need to install, and then we've got our other section here. So we've got our filter, our two lines, bolts for the brackets, our push lock fittings, and our AN fittings for the filter itself, and then we've got the wiring kit for the water warning light that goes in the dash, which I'll probably install in a later video, just because it's gonna be really annoying to do all of this in one day, and I've only got about an hour or so, hour and a half before I need to vacate this spot so the old boy can move back into the garage. But first things first, we need to disassemble a few things in the engine bay. Alright, so I don't know how well I'm framed up here, or whether it's even a good quality, because unfortunately for some reason I can't clean the lens on the camera. So I'll have to try and find a way to sort that out. But the first thing we're going to do is move this line here. So on the bottom side here and just at the back there, they're basically just pressure locked fittings. I'll show you after I remove them, because it's better to understand how to remove them by looking at the internals and how they work. But essentially they're a dual O-ring with basically a tri-clamp that holds onto a ring, so you don't need to push anything or anything like that. You basically just apply force, wiggle it around a little bit, and eventually they'll pop out. They can be a little stiff, and it can feel like you're going to break something. Be careful, but it's the only way to take them off. There's no prying or anything like that. You just need to go ahead and do it. So if we jump in, apologies, it stopped recording for a second. So we'll jump in and we'll add a bit of force on the upwards and just slightly wiggle it back and forth. This can be very tight. There we go. Now we need to get to that back one, which is a lot more difficult because you can't apply enough force, really, because you're I don't know what most people call that. Some people call it a plenum, some people call it a rain catcher. I call it a plenum, but I mean, technically that over there is a plenum. Should stop rambling. Glad I've got this bull bar. Get my hand in there and apply. Good force. So this car's got about 16,000 on it. It's about a year old, but that's how much oil is going through the turbo and through the intake manifold and everything like that. So I did leave this install a little bit late. Should be one of the first things you do to diesel engines, especially for touring and stuff, but just means I'm gonna have to clean it, which we'll do at a later date. Part of this install is we're gonna be putting this bracket on, which is a 3-part little excursion, and I'll show you why. If I can get into position here, which is easier said than done, is we can see, so in between your ECU plug and your filter here, if we look down into the bowels, if I can get the flashlight on, which I cannot, if you notice there's one bolt, so we're gonna have to undo that one, and another one. I'm really gonna need the flash for this. Alright, sometimes I really wish I had a cameraman for this stuff, or someone to do the work for me, but that's not how this works. So, we'll start off by undoing those bolts without any light, which is always my favorite. Sorry about the bad camera quality. So we've got those all undone. Now next we're going to do is we're going to take our large bracket here, orientate it that way, slide that in there gently, and then we're going to, sorry, it's hard to do all this one-handed. I need a camera guy. You getting this, camera guy? So we'll put it on the bottom first. Yeah, come on. There we go. And then we'll slide it onto this one. Slide it. There we go. And then we'll secure the nuts onto that so it doesn't fall out or off. It's not enough room. I'm gonna have to put you guys down. That debacle's over yet again. Sorry about the quality. We're gonna take this bracket, that angle piece down, place that on its bolt position. Make sure everything lines up. Yep. I'm going to need 2 hands for this again. So I'm going to put the bolt through the base there. Then I'm going to loosely put the nut on top there, and then I'll tighten them together. installed. So got your bolt up here that you holds it all together. Got your bolt down there, and the cross bolt there. So next, I believe, is to actually install the catch can to the bracket. Alright, so next what we're going to do is we're going to attach our 12mm inner diameter drain hose to the bottom of the catch can. They say to use the spacer tool, but I don't think we need that one just yet for this hose. We will need it for these hoses. But it also calls for one of the smaller clamps, which means some adjustable pliers is probably one of the best things to use, or vice grips. So we'll slide that over, seat it a little further down, take our catch can, squeeze it on. Sometimes you can use like a bit of grease, oil, dish soap to put them on easier. But in this case, because it's a catch can and it will be breathing back, I don't want to use too much in the way of detergents and stuff. You can use a bit of oil from the old hose because it was already there inside the intake, so you can grease up the inside of your hoses and stuff just to slide on a bit easier. But we secure this one. And that's that one there. Now, what does it say? Yeah, the side of the engine bay, blah, 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 blah. All the programs, okay. So now we're just going to install this into the car. So I'm going to take my 2 bolts that I need, and I'll see you up there. Because from over there you can't really see what you're doing, and I can't get the camera any closer because then we'll lose frame. I need a cameraman. Anyone want to work for free? So, let me get back into my awkward position here around everything that I've installed because I'm an idiot. What I'm going to do is feed this hose down on the inside of there. So basically, I want to run it down to a point where I can secure it to the frame and put like a little petcock or something in there later on for draining. I don't know if I need to, I'll have to read that up. And then we slide this on the fender side. Before I secure this, actually, it seems like it'll be easier to install the hoses before it's bolted in, because if that hose down up on the bottom there, it sits very close to, well, everything. So let's see if we can make this a little easier on ourselves. Let's do that. One important note before we ever bolt this in is it needs to be clocked in the right direction. So if we have a look at this little bar here on the back, we need to slide at least one end out to release the pressure. Now this needs to be pretty much at a, I'd say a 35-40 degree angle. You can't go too far, so that's 90 degrees on from, well, perpendicular to the bracket. Then rotate it once more. That's in its locked in position, and that's the orientation it needs to be in. So it needs to face towards the bracket, basically. You can call that around about 45 degrees. So lock that back into place, and that's the orientation there. Yeah, we will do that at a later date because it'll be too hard to get the clamps on while it's in position. Alright, so I don't know how well things are going to be in frame here, But I've taken my old hose here so I can grab some oil from the inside, and I'm going to sort of pre-assemble these hoses a little bit. And what it calls for is we'll take an angle piece. This will be for the inlet, which is the one that sits on top of the catch can. We're gonna slide over our short, thick hose, and then I believe one of the medium-sized clamps. Yep, need to rotate. So that one there, and then we take our shorter of our two breather hoses, take another clamp, a little bit of oil, lube it up, we'll slide that one over. Now I won't lock that one into position yet, but I will put the clamp in a position that's easily accessible, like that. And then it calls for another angled piece on this side, relatively at almost a right angle, but just a little bit off. Grab a bit more oil, grab a clamp, really wish they didn't use spring clamps. I mean, it does look more OEM, but they're kind of useless. And we'll put that almost at a right angle. So if you have a look at the orientation there, they're almost opposite of each other. I'm not really explaining this very well, am I? But this one does need to rotate, so don't lock that one down. Guess we can lock down one of these ends. Probably the one that's going to be more difficult, which is that one there, because that's going to be under that plenum. And then we need to fit one of these larger cups. Now this we're probably going to have to do all in one, so because it's a short pipe. So I've got that one on there. Gonna squeeze that one in there. Sorry about the bad camera work. And then we lock that one into position. So that is our inlet hose, I believe, yeah. So that one's going to go on top like that, which you'll see in a second. Now this one, this is going to be for the outlet that goes back into the intake, which was essentially this side here. And this one calls for this straight section here. Can't forget the clamps. Clamp over. Let's do both sides while we're here. Clamp over. Slide this one into one end. Sorry, other way. Now, this, as you can see, these cups have two different outer sizes. The skinnier one goes on the straight hose, like that, after we put the clamp over. I'm gonna make a shirt that says clamp over. Any word that I repeat a lot of times in a video, I'll have to make a shirt one day if I ever get to that stage. We'll slide that one on. Clamp down. This one you can clamp down because it won't need to rotate, because the other side will rotate. Bingo bango bongo. And now on this side, let's do the same. Angled piece. Clamp on. Clamp on. Line them up. Open the clamp. Push it on. There's those two hoses fully assembled. Fun. That is a tap. So it's not a tool, it's a tap. But it would be a little bit odd. So tab open, tab closed. Cool, so that does go into the bottom of the catch can. Thought it seemed a bit strange. So this one technically doesn't need a clamp. But hey, we're here. It is technically a push lock fitting that's not under any pressure, but since we've got a clamp anyway, we'll chuck that one on. Better to be thorough. A little bit of oil because this one's going to be tight as hell because it is a push lock. Yeah. Squeeze that one in. Why does this need a clamp? All right. Make sure it's closed. And there we go. Now we can slide this all in. All right. So, what I've been told from my dad, because he's done this on his car, which I kind of wanted to do for myself, but I just came home one day and it was done. But he says it's easier to start from the ends of the vehicle because otherwise it's too hard to try and twist and contort the hoses into the way that you want, where it's easier up there where you have more access to it, apparently. So I've pre-clamped these ones high up, and I'm trying to orientate the clamps in a position where I have access to them so I can push them on and release them. I think this one will be fine, so we'll push that one into position. Grab my some needle nose pliers might actually be.
Needle nose pliers required. Release the tension on this clamp. See, all the way on. And close it. Alright. First one done. Now we'll do that back one.
Which is that orientation there. We'll rotate that one a little bit to the side. Get back up. Adjust the ball bar. So, as you can see, that's the installation of the catch can there. I am filming this in the distant past of when I actually filmed the rest of that. Mainly because during the time that I filmed and now, I've been a very busy person. Plus, I kind of wanted to show the benefits of a catch can. So for that, I needed to drive the vehicle for a while. So I've put about 5,000 kilometers on the car since I put that catch can in. So I've driven down to Fraser, Ireland and stuff like that. If you've seen my Instagram, you would have seen some of the photos on there. It's a very beautiful place, if it wasn't raining so much over the Christmas period. But to give you a quick example, the 5,000 kilometers that I drove, I filled it into a glass here. I don't know if you can see that, but it's quite a bit in there. And it's all just black sludge and a little bit of water. Now, if you're wondering, you will get a little bit of water. That's just condensation that it's picking up through the when you first run the vehicle, and your catch can's always going to catch a bit of moisture. It's nothing to worry about. But if, as you can see, that's a major benefit of putting a catch can in your vehicle, because that has not gone through your intake. It's not clogging up your manifold or anything like that, and it's keeping your vehicle very efficient. Now it's time for the outro of this video. I want to thank you guys so much for watching and for subscribing, and if you made it this far, congratulations. Now, a couple of people have asked me in the comments and on forums and things like that if there's some way that you guys can support me. And to be honest, you guys are doing it right now. Just by watching this video and commenting and leaving a like, it helps a lot. Helps to grow the channel, helps to get the word out there, and it really helps people actually get the confidence to start working on their own vehicle. But due to the requests and things like that, I have set up a Patreon. Now, in saying that, that's not me wanting free handouts or anything like that. That's purely going to go towards the channel itself. So paying for the camera that I've just bought here to bring better quality videos. I can now actually record my trips and things like that. So when I go camping, I'm planning on going to Cape York this year. So hopefully I can catch some good footage of that. And but that's basically it. So I'll leave the Patreon in the description below. You don't have to donate to it. It's very much appreciated if you do, and there's not much I can do to give you guys back other than the content here. And I'll leave a thanks at the end of my videos, thanking all of my Patreons. But and maybe in the future, hopefully, I'll be able to do a Patreon only Q&A or something like that if you guys wanted tech tips, or just ask me a few personal questions like how did I get my start in vehicles, what's my job, what do I do on a daily basis, why did I pick blue, anything like that. But anyway guys, I want to thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for part 2 of this series, where I'm going to put the fuel filter in and describe all the benefits of that. And until then guys, I'll catch you next time.